Hello, World of Tank Blitzers, and hopefully a few future Momrads. I'm Littlefinger here today to talk about the Luchs. This is the German Tier 4 light tank. You can see it here in the garage. It's a nice, small, compact tank with very good acceleration and top speed and mobility. Let's just take a quick look at the tech tree, show you where this will take you. It's at the bottom here. After the PZ2G, the Luchs goes to the Leopard, the VK2801, SP1C, and RU251. All of these are fantastic tanks. With the Leopard and the VK having fairly decent armor, the other three do not. But all very mobile, all have very good guns, and all very fun to drive. Let me take and show you here what I'm running on it. Consumables, repair kit, multi-purpose, and a fire extinguisher, provisions, protective kit, standard fuel, and chocolate. Ammunition, I was running about 40 rounds of APCR, and of course you can change that from gold to credits right there. So 800 credits per round versus 32 for your standard AP, and you can see that the minimum penetration jumps from 71 to 82 there. I'm going to talk about equipment in a minute, but first let me pull up a little website here and we can talk about the different lights at Tier 4. Alright guys, this graphic here is taken from blitzstars.com. Great website, check it out. You can find your own stats as well as compare other tanks like this. I can't keep up with the changes that World of Tanks is making on these tanks, so I can't keep up with my own spreadsheet. So we'll do it this way. You can see the Luchs there is on the left, and this is all of the Tier 4 light tanks, non-premium. Looking at damage per minute, just over 1,000. Is right in line except for the Stewart and the A20, which almost are at 1,500. Penetration on this tank is really good, so it means you won't need as much APCR, but I'll put that with a caveat. You will still need it, especially Tier 5 matches against KVs, that type of stuff. So Alpha, your damage per shot is 25, and keep in mind you've got 6 shells in your clip. So that's going to get you about 150 damage per round if you can get every shot to land. And the trick there is to obviously use your mobility, get up close, and not worry so much about the dispersion. Shell velocity is 940. Obviously that's going to help with the penetration. So aiming time 2.27. Again, that's worse of all of these other tanks, but the way I play this tank is you want to be up close and personal, use the mobility to distract, so you're not so much worried about the dispersion there. The depression on the gun is 10 degrees, elevation 20, which you know, 10 degrees I think is pretty good. When you start getting 6 and 7 degrees like the 38T or the A20, you really have to pay attention to terrain a lot more. Moving on to movement and mobility, we see here top speed of 60 kilometers per hour is very good. Only the 38T and the A20 are higher. Engine powers 371 horsepower there is really good, which gives you a power to rate ratio almost at 30. Terrain resistance there is not bad, although it's actually kind of the worst of the class, but I don't think you really feel it driving this tank around. Credit coefficient, this really surprised me at only 85%, and I guess that's why I struggled to make much money in this tank. That and having to use a fair amount of APCR at the higher Tier 5 games you know, made it difficult to make too much money. View range there at 243, and of course you can get that up with the equipment, which we'll talk about next, is really good. And your hit point pool there at 540 is the best in class. What I thought here interesting, the hull armor at 30 is kind of right in line with everything else, but the turret armor at 50 is best in class. So if you can find yourself a nice hull down spot where you can just peek out, unload a clip, and then back up, and wait your 8 seconds for the reload, it's also a good way to play this tank. But when we get into some gameplay, I'll show you. I like to play it more as a distraction than anything else. Okay, so here's our new equipment setup with version 3.8. You can see you've got 3 tiers separated into combat, power, vitality, and specialization. The first tier here you can unlock with credits. So improved vents versus calibrated shells. Now on this one you can see that I used to really install vents whenever I could on the previous setup when you only choose 3, but on a tank like this, you know, you're adding 1.5 degrees per second. I mean, can you really tell a difference between 69 degrees and 70.5? You know, your rate of fire, you're only increasing it by 1, which is 25 hit points. So again, really not improving it that much. So I went with the calibrated shells, which gives me an extra 5 millimeters of penetration on both the AP and APCR. Vitality here, protected modules, which against fires, explosions, versus protecting your crew. You know, I feel better about protecting myself from an ammo rack, so that's why I chose the protected modules. You've got a choice here between optics and camouflage net. Camouflage net does reduce your visibility even when moving. That's a good option, but probably not for this tank. So I went with the increased view range there, and you can see that gets us up to 267, which is really good. Now these level 2 and level 3 are paid for with spare parts, and you have to get spare parts through completing missions. So I'm not going to be equipping any of my lower tier tanks with these, just because obviously I've got enough tier 9s and 10s that I want to try to equip. Enhanced gun lane drive versus the supercharge. Again, with this tank, you are not really shooting from a long distance, so your decrease in penetration over distance really doesn't come into play. So I would go with the enhanced gun lane drive. Enhanced armor plus 5%. You know, when your armor's only 30 to 50 millimeters, you're not gaining a lot. So I would go with your improved assembly, which is going to give you an extra 30 hit points, and that might be the difference between dying and staying alive in a game or two. So improved control versus engine accelerator. Again, this is really helping out with your traverse speed of 75 there. I don't think you're going to see too much of a difference between what you would get here at the accelerator at almost 72 versus 75, whereas this is going to get you up to your top speed faster. So I would go with the accelerator. Vertical stabilizer versus refined gun. Again, dispersion, I'm not really worried about it because I'm playing up close and personal with this tank. So I would go with an aim time of 3.5. Enhanced tracks versus toolbox. I'll be honest, I haven't equipped this on any tanks, so I'm not even really sure how beneficial either one of these are. So I'm going to leave that up to you guys if you do decide to equip it. Consumable delivery system versus high-end consumables. Well, this really just, in my opinion, boils down to if you're using both engine boost and adrenaline on the 3 choices you get for equipment there. So I would choose that, whereas I'm using the small kit and a large kit, so I'm going to choose a consumable cooldown speed if I were to install this one. So anyway, I just think this is a pure money grab from Wargaming, and I'm not happy about this new system, but I guess that's neither here nor there at this point in time. So anyway, let's take a look at a few in-game battles. Real quick, public service announcement, guys. Please do not be this PZ4A. I'm lining up my shot. I get rammed from behind, and he is just pushing forward. I'm trying to back up. I don't want to move forward. I've got 4 tanks there that could shoot me. He pulls forward, doesn't hit any shots, and then proceeds to back up and block my shots. So again, guys, please do not be this guy. First game here on Black Goldville. I am top tier, asking the team to come to the caves. And away we go, and I'm just checking to make sure that I've got support. Don't want to run up into the caves by myself without help. And it looks like this team is kind of slow. And so I'm gonna just go ahead and sit back here, knowing that I've got cover. Hopefully I've got support behind me. You can see one of our guys has YOLO'd into all of the reds there and gotten himself killed. So we are in bad shape already. We've got these two TDs just sitting on top of the hill, ready to get shot. And I'm just trying to find some spots that are a little bit more hold down. You can see I can pull up there, get my shots in, and pull back down. And I'm just kind of letting the game unfold, seeing where my team is, keeping an eye on this mini-map, and looking for weak targets that I can exploit with my speed. I'm just trying to be careful not to take unnecessary shots at this point in time, like that one. But here we're going to use our speed, and we are not even going to stop. We're just going to circle around and get him on the back side here, and he bounces a shot and we finish him off. And now I'm going to run back to cover. No point stopping to see who has the opportunity to shoot me. And we've got this Artie that is out on his own. So I'm trying just to keep myself moving, distraction. And you can see here, we don't even turn. Don't even wait to see if that DW is going to shoot back at us, and just keep on moving. So this tank is really good at distracting others. We're going to come in here and we'll bounce a few shots off of this guy, and somehow he rams into us and I end up killing him. And so now we've got two left. And you can see just how much fun this tank is, how quick it gets around the map. And here's our DW again. We're going to need that APCR. Put a couple shots into him and just back down and wait for the reload. He's the only one left. I had thought about driving around, but just going to wait, see if he's still aimed at us. Sure enough, get a couple shots in and back down again. So this wasn't the, the highest damage game I had in it, but you could see how I used my speed to try to distract as much as possible. Did lose some money there. What you're going to do in this tank if you're shooting APCR. But 877 damage, did get 2 kills out of it. But I thought just a good example on how to play this tank. Okay, next game here, Desert Sands, also top tier. But just want to show you this game, as this team was not very helpful at all. So what I'm doing here is I'm using this ridge as protection. So I'll go up the ridge, and then I can take my shots and I can pull back down. And I've got support behind me, so if anyone tries to climb this ridge, hopefully they would be good at getting rid of them pretty quickly. So this is my little bit of a defense here for the long reload. So trying to keep these 3 guys all in position. And also another thing, a good tip that I've learned is look at when they fire, and then peek out only after they've unloaded their clip, just because obviously then they can't shoot you back. It has Certainly helped improve my game by doing that. But you can see here, I'm just backing out of trouble, keeping these mounds behind me. And if he wants to come around and hopefully this M2 knows what he's doing, he can put some serious heat into him. So, but then again, he's gonna ram me and not let me back up. So, chances are he doesn't know what he's doing. So we've got this PZ4 here. He's out by himself. Oh, I'm gonna go take him on. He's focused on the M3, and rightly so. It's certainly a bigger tank, can do more damage. But now this RD's coming at us, so luckily we finish him off on that roll, and the BT7 uses his shot to take out the M3 Lee, so we'll get him while he's reloading for kill number 2. We're down a tank still, and now I'm trying to decide who's my weakest target here. I think I'll go and try to do some damage to this Luchs here, or Luchs I should say, German. So he's gonna bounce a couple off me there, and we'll finish him off for kill number 3. And now we've got a PZ2G here, and you see how I shoot him. I go over the mound while I'm reloading, and then pop back over, unload my clip, and back over the mound. Staying mobile, and finishing him off for kill number 4. Alright, PZ4, you look like you might be AFK, so we're not gonna be too concerned here. But you can see I'm still hiding behind the dune. He hasn't moved, and I've shot him 2 rounds, so I am gonna go relocate on the other side here. And unfortunately, I didn't get the kill there. So we're 2 on 2. And now we are 2 on 1. So now it's just a little game of cat and mouse. I'm hoping that they've seen me drive in this direction, and by the time I should have dropped off the radar, I've turned around and I'm going to go back around the other way. Going to open up my ammo here, because if I get into a situation where I have to penetrate, I'm going to switch over to this APCR. So now I know at least one of them's in the base. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to drive around the town and come in from the back side. I don't think that they will be expecting me there. And if possible, I would like to take out that T-82 first, just because he can do a lot more damage to me per shot. And I guess he's probably the more skilled player with 4 kills. So luckily he pops up first, and he's facing the wrong way, so I can finish him off. And now I'm just going to try to use my speed here on the B2, and he's actually doing a pretty good job, except he's not moving his tracks, which you know, is obviously a novice player's mistake. So I'm going to switch it up and go the other way. And now I'm going to decide, I'm just going to hide behind this dead carcass here of a tank. We're about even on hit points at this point in time. So, circle of death. This is what it looks like. And we're almost out of APCR. It's going to be an expensive game. But 6 kills. We did some serious damage. 2,249 to be exact. which is like 90% of what the team did in total. I think it's kind of crazy. So yeah, we did 3,180, and I did 2/3 of that. So that's what you can do as top tier. Obviously, games are not as easy being bottom tier, and I'll show one of those next. Alright, so here we are, Middleburg, bottom tier. They've got a couple KV1s and a Leo, and so I'm not sure, what direction they will take. Typically, tier 5 KV1s don't play as teams, and I'd expect them to go town. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up the hill here, and thank God that Leo didn't block me. I mean, why on earth do you need to come the exact same spot that I'm in? And so I'm going to back up, and look at this. Leo, he backs right into me again. I mean, I'm thinking to myself, oh, this is going to be a great team, right? So I don't want to stick up here with a Leo that doesn't know what he's doing. So my thought process here is let's use the outside of the map. Let's try to go undetected down. But when I see them pop up, I've seen that the KV and the Leo's already down here. Their Leo, that is. So, and I see the PZ4D going down there. So I'm trying to keep myself away from the middle of the fight. Obviously, I've got very little armor. Can only take a few shots from these bigger tanks. There's no point in me being down in the town against those bigger tanks. So here we've got a T-67. I know he can't turn that turret fast enough, but I'm gonna go ahead and play it safe. Always looking for an out, not to get shot. He's on the run. We're gonna throw some shots in there, but not get any damage. And we've taken a one tank advantage, and so I'm sticking up here on the hill, and basically right now what I want to do is try to help out with spotting some of these guys down in town. The toaster's right there, so I'm going to switch over to HE, and you can see I can get 205 damage. I've spotted that Leo, and he gets taken out, so now I'm just looking for more shots. I would much rather get the from a distance here, shoot the toaster, than I would try shooting one of those 2 KVs. So that's my thought process, is let's get around and let's get the toaster first. But I think it's our Leo goes and gets him first. So anyway, now I'm coming up behind KV1, so then I'll just leave it on APCR here, and he's gonna push off but not turn around. And we got him on the run, and we get him finished off. And so I see the KVs moving to my left, so I'm going to go out behind him, hoping I get the backside. And sure enough, Leo rams him, which, what a very smart move there. And so we stay alive, we don't take any damage, we stayed far away. Used our spotting capabilities to help the team, and we did 700 damage. We didn't get any kills, but it's a support tank. It's not going to do the majority of the damage like the previous game unless you've got a really horrible team. So that concludes the full tank review here of the Luchs. I hope you enjoyed it and got something out of it. Don't forget to subscribe, and stay safe out there, guys. Have fun with this game. It is, after all, just a game. As always, Littlefinger out.